Okay, I'm feeling salty AF today. So, without further ado, we need to talk about what plagiarism is. In particular, art plagiarism, but we can also talk about other types of plagiarism, like certain ones pulled off by without a box of Kleenex. Okay, if you know who I am, I'm Suzanne Tidkamar. If you don't know who I am, that's okay too. I used to write a blog called No Longer Quivering for a place called Pathos. I talked about fundamentalist religions, and usually I would be doing a book review today, but I am pretty good much got a bee in my bonnet about something today, about art theft. What do I mean by art theft? Let me pull up the description for you. Art plagiarism. Visual plagiarism, also known as art theft. Those of you who know me may not know that don't know me well, may not know that I am an artist. I am here in my sewing room, my studio, where I do all of my arts. I make my arts. I've been doing this for years. I studied. I had private lessons as a small child even, because art was something that I just had to do. And that's the thing that separates artisans from artists. Artists do it because they feel it in here. They have to do it. It's let your emotions out or explode. And part of being an artist is ever learning. And I have been ever learning in my art journey. This morning I was in the kitchen looking at spatulas and things going, I wonder what kind of crazy painting I could make with one of these. So let me let you stroll through here. This is me trying to learn watercolor and using watercolored pencils and a little bit of acrylic. Okay, this is an original of mine. It came from right here after I saw somebody showing how to make watercolor perfect circles using a bowl. This is one of the few times I used acrylic when our old days when we lived in Virginia. And it is from an original photograph I took. Okay, I'm about to spam you all the recent artwork I've done. This bad boy is a combination of acrylic and oil paints. It's an old painting I did that I didn't like, so I said, well, I'll just use it to practice pour painting on. I practiced pour painting. It did not go well, but I liked the edges, so I kept the edges and enhanced them a little bit and just started going wild on it. This came out of my brain. That was not copying it from anybody. I should have brought these all next to me, and I will do that right now. So I don't have to keep leaning back and showing you guys my gut. Okay. This a recent acrylic that I did from a photograph I took of the sun going down over the beach. It was all blues and golds. This bad boy is based upon a photograph that I took, a photo that I absolutely love. And lately I've been painting in acrylics and watercolors because I can't handle the scent of oil paints. And I'm starting to wheeze with acrylics. That's why I'm starting to do the thing with watercolor. This bad boy, oil, it is where the ocean meets the estuary from a photograph I took. Last but not least, something I did in acrylic and used. I love bright colors. You probably couldn't tell that from some of those, but I always have. I took a picture of the cane fields on fire at sunset one night and came up with this crazy ass image. And I love it. I love all the vivid colors from a photograph I took. And sometimes as an artist, you're going to experiment and you're not going to like it. I was watching somebody talking about how to do prints with glass designs. I did that. I don't like it. It'll be going on the trash heap or remade into something else. Here's something I started. I don't know if I'll ever finish it or not. About my last journey to San Jose. I don't know if I'll ever finish that. So why did I bother showing all that? Because I wanted you to see something, and it has to do with this topic. All of these paintings are original, either here or from a photograph I personally took. I've been painting for years, since I was like 13, 14, in oils, and now acrylic, and now making the transition into watercolors because I wheeze when I do oil or acrylics now. And I have to paint or I bust. I'm just one of those people. So why am I even talking about this, and why am I showing you all my paintings? I want you to know what an original looks like, what an original looks like. And not only an original, but if you're any kind of halfway decent artiste, and I can't read in here. I always write my name on the back. I don't see it on this one. I write my name on the back and the date it was produced. I've always done that. And where is a picture of? I've always done that. And for some reason, that one looks like it wore off. I can't read it. And it's not that everybody doesn't use ideas from other people, because obviously we all do. We all think about that. I love the paintings of one Vincent van Gogh. And I've done a number of paintings in his style, not direct copies of any of his work. I only did a direct copy of his work one time. It was the first time I painted in oils because I wanted to learn what he did. But here's the thing. I didn't try to push it off as original artwork or anything like that. The only time that copying another artwork or, quote, improving on it comes into being is when you are making a copy for somebody. Somebody asks you for it, and you're like, oh, all right. I did a copy of Starry, Starry Night for someone. There was a pretty decent copy, and I'm thinking about doing a second one just so I can paint my cats in it staring at the stars, because I think that would be fun. But, or something like for my 50th birthday. Yeah, I'm drinking out of a fruit jar. I'm mad. My 50th birthday, I did a sheet cake where I painted Edvard Munch's The Scream with icing on the top of the cake, which was really fun, but clearly I was not attempting to push it off as original artwork. You just can't do that if you did not come up with the idea. And there are a lot of rules about that too. I have been reading about that. Somebody copying your artwork for any reason is considered art theft or visual plagiarism. You know, it's different if somebody asks you to do it and you write on there, this is your take on the other person's artwork. It's a whole different ball game if you're trying to learn a technique that your favorite artist uses. I'm usually not interested in that. Most of the time I will think things up and say, I wonder what that would look like. Like one time, there's a painting in my bedroom, I painted 90% of it with a piece of saran wrap scrunched up, and it worked out well. So I like to think about those things and come up with them. The digital world has made everything a lot worse as far as for artwork, and especially original artwork. I used to do worship flags, and I mean large ones. We're talking 9 feet long or more. The one that I used to do the most had lame in whatever color on the outside rim, and the inside rim was chiffon that had glitter on it. These flags were half round. They were expensive to make. It took almost $100 worth of material. And if you weren't careful and you didn't know what you were doing, it was really easy to screw up where the chiffon and the lame laid. I had worked out on my own how to cut these things and how to lay them out and how to sew them. And I used to also do sometimes do art, airbrushing. I will come up with original designs, draw it out on the lame, put it together, that sort of thing. And it was really frustrating because almost from the beginning, and this is very true in evangelical Christianity, almost from the beginning, people would ask me how much, and I would tell them, and they would go, I'm not paying that kind of money. I'd be like, look, I got $90 in materials in this thing. How can you tell me? So I'm only charging you a tiny bit for the actual work. So how can you tell me it's not worth it? So a lot of times these people would say, I want to make that. Tell me how to make it. And I would very carefully draw out how they had to fold the fabric and cut it a certain way, and give them tips on overlaying the two together and sewing them together and edging the whole thing, serger edging the whole thing so that it flowed right. Because with these flags, it was crucial they were cut a certain way or they would not flow right. And with the chiffon ones, they had the chiffon in the center and the heavier lame on the outside. So I never minded doing that because that was for the people who were telling me that I charged too much. And many times they would start making one and screw it up so badly they would just contact me and purchase one anyway. But what was the problem was I would make these things and I would do my original designs, and later I would see on Twitter, not Twitter, what am I talking about? On Etsy. Etsy wasn't as much of a thing back then, but especially on eBay, I would see bad knockoffs of my design for a fraction of what I was charging. And it was very, very hard with that sort of thing to say, hey, that's not yours. In today's world of digital everything, it's very easy to prove your copyright on your copyrighted material. By the way, those are all copyrighted now that I've shown them online. And so I'm inserting my copyright. If somebody makes a copy for themselves, I do not care. If they make a copy and try to claim it's their own artwork, oh, girl. So I dealt with this plagiarism quite a bit in the art world. And there have been times when I've been able to support myself in the art world. One of the flags, I did it for a while. I worked in an art studio and gallery for many years, off and on, and their quilting division. And quilting and crochet is a little bit different because everybody's sharing the patterns. Sometimes you could look at something and work out what the pattern is. So there's a whole lot less, quote, plagiarism that goes on there. I'm concerned with the original artwork. When you do your original artwork and somebody makes a bad copy, oh, it is literally the worst. It's a bad feeling. And digital is even more bizarre. When I worked for Pathos, the rule for graphics was if you did a graphic for your website to use, and I did a fair amount, you had to have made an 85% or greater change to the original image, artwork or not. If you changed it that much, and what do I mean by change? I mean, maybe you cut a little bit of it out to use, you turn it a completely different color, you added other graphics in there, and you put lettering on there. That's an acceptable use of someone else's copywritten material. That's something that does not violate copyrights by the way that the copyright laws are constructed. But to take somebody else's picture and to change what one pillow looks like and change what one sign says is not 85% change. It is a plagiarism. It is an art theft. It is digital visual plagiarism. And I don't tolerate that in anybody. For me, knowing that certain people are plagiarists, whether they're plagiarizing writings like Without a Box of Kleenex has done, or they're plagiarizing other people's artwork and saying, see here where I did this. When people do that, I know a lot about them right off the bat, that they are not good people. They're not good people. Not anybody I want to be anywhere near, associated with, anything like that. And I'm sorry, this is probably going to hurt some of you guys' feelings, this stream, because I know a lot of you support this person. And that's fine. You can support somebody that your other friends don't like. There's no law against that. I guess what I'm trying to say is I finally broke down and watched the burnt toast videos. I had been hearing whispers about this for eons, about the artwork, and not really looked in, just looked at it a little bit and went, oh yeah, I have gone down and looked at that. That is not cool. That's not right. You shouldn't be able to try to excuse that. That is content theft. That is thieving somebody else's intellectual property, their visual artwork. You don't do that ever. And if you decide to do that, you contact the artist and say, hey, is it okay if I do X, Y, and Z? Hey, I want to share a homage to you. You try to get their permission. And at the very least, you put where you got it from. At the very least, that's like the minor standard, the most minor standard. Oh, yeah, I got that from that crazy lady over there, and I turned it purple and did X, Y, and Z to it. You do that. You don't just decide that you're going to put dots on a pillow and change words and change the color just a hair and then claim it. You can't do that. It's against the law. You could actually go to jail or have a huge fine over something like that. And I would not be crying because, like I said, as someone who's been a writer and an artist for years, this is something I've dealt with. Anybody who has been a commercially an artist who's sold paintings or sold whatever, or even if you haven't, even if you're just a teenager at home drawing things out and sharing them online for the heck of it, and somebody takes their artwork and says it's theirs, it's wrong. It's just plain old vanilla wrong. Don't do it. Don't support people to do that crap. People that do that crap have proven what their morality is, and that they suck, most definitely. So that's my rant for today. And I know I'm going to piss some people off. Guess what? I'm kind of done. I'm going to link to the Toasty articles, the Toasty videos in this video, because it's important to see what was done and then the reaction. To me, the reaction was the worst part. Because a lot of people who aren't working artists don't realize that taking somebody else's whatever and doing something to it and then claiming your own, they don't realize that that's actually a violation of rules. And when busted, this person called somebody a CUNT, okay? That's not good. You don't do that. You just do not do that. I don't care who you are. So there you go. If you wanted to piss me off, art plagiarism is the way to go. I would say I love you guys, but I am very, very, very angry today.